Hi everyone, welcome to the first 2010 version of the Augie Men's Hockey Update. We're doing a little preview today for you with their two games coming up this weekend in the MIAC Showcase, one against Gustavus and the other against St. Mary's. So we're talking about, Brett, today we've got a lot to recap. Last time we were talking to the loyal viewers or listeners, as you'd probably call them out there. Right. We were talking to Trevor Doden about the playoffs against St. Olaf and then obviously what ended up being a game against Gustavus. And boy, I know they gave us a lot of thrills last year, and it was some of the funnest times I've had as an Augsburg college student. The double overtime win over St. Olaf, and then the 4 overtime loss to Gustavus, in which Justin Lochner broke that NCAA record for saves in that game with 98. So, Brett, coming off such a heartbreaking defeat, I'm sure there was a lot of motivation going into the offseason, especially knowing that this Friday is their first game against that same Gustavus team.
Yeah, ending the season like they did last year. Really on a positive note, for the program's sake, a couple years ago they kind of had some hurdles along the way, not making the playoffs, and then 2 years ago, made the playoffs. They lost in the first game to Hamlin, and then last year, winning the playoff game at home versus St. Olaf, and then going on the road and losing that game where, with one of the top teams in the nation, Gustavus, the year before was a national runner-up. Going into their barn and coming and almost stealing a victory from them in a 4 overtime game where you gave it all you had and probably played your best overall game of the year. That's a lot of positives moving forward. And yeah, it is motivation, but you can take a lot of good stuff from that. They were in there playing against a good team with some of the best players in the nation. They didn't come out with a win, but moving forward, now you got a chance to get back at it Friday night, and you want to win this game Friday night to kind of build some momentum. And it's not necessarily payback. The payback will be when March rolls around, the playoff rolls around again.
The one major loss off that team from last year is Chris Johnson, obviously son of Mark Johnson of the Miracle team. Chris Johnson, 2-time All-American, kind of the facilitator of that offense, especially on the power play. Saw him rack up 16 assists last year. So, looking at this team, knowing you've lost Johnson, who do you expect to step in and fill that role of that facilitator and a guy that can really distribute the puck?
You talk about the loss of a 2-time All-American, Chris Johnson, really is going to hurt a team. But in that, I think it's almost one of their strengths into the season is because they lost Chris Johnson. They also lost Ian McDougall and Tyler Anthony, who were nice, role players for them, more kind of a couple fourth-line guys. So that shows that you're bringing back a lot of your first 3-line guys, which is a strength for this team and something that they really can build on, that veteran leadership and that veteran presence. You look for guys like Nick Aran, Joel Sauer, and Jim Jensen, who will probably be, to start with being on that first line together. They played well together up and down between first and second line last year. You can look for those 3 seniors to really step up and carry the load. You also look at a guy like Maramielli, who's another other captain along with Joel and Jim this year. Trevor Doden. Some of those guys who have been around the program now for 3 years, you're going to really look for those guys to step their game up to where they haven't been the last couple of years.
Talk about the strengths of this team, and obviously one of them is going to be up front with all those talented forwards that you talked about. But in net, Justin Lochner's back again for his second year, and he was quite impressive last year.
Oh yeah, by the end of the year, Justin Lochner is one of the best goalies in the conference, if not the best goalie in the conference. You look at that game when he had 98 saves against Gustavus, and being at the game, there's no doubt that he was going to make the save every single time. He just had the confidence of the fans, the parents, the players. You could just see that everyone just knew that Loch was going to get the job done, and look for that to carry this year into just his sophomore year.
Looking forward, there obviously are going to be some lofty goals. There's going to be expectations through the roof, and with this team's success, that's obviously a very good thing. You've had Chris Brown come in and just keep making this team better and better over the last couple of years. So, what do you think would make this a successful season for them? Obviously, is playoffs going to be enough, or is it going to be that MIAC title game that'll really show this team's arrived?
And I talked about earlier that it's kind of right perfect in the rebuilding process and how it goes. You have the rocky year with a bunch of big core of freshmen, then you make the playoffs. You're happy to be there. You win a playoff game. Now I think the natural progression would be to hope to win the MIAC championship, and those aren't lofty goals. Right now in the USCHO poll, they're ranked 4th out of the MIAC teams, which which is expected. You got Gustavus, who 2-time region, made to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. Had St. Thomas, who won the league last year, and Hamlin returns a lot of skilled players. It's going to be a tough league. It's one of the best Division III hockey leagues in the nation. But I look for the Augies to be right there with them as they compete with all 3 of those teams last year.
For Cloutier, I'm Mike Gallagher, 4 p.m. at the Blaine Ice Arena against Gustavus for the Augies' first contest of the year, and Saturday against St. Mary's at 7 p.m. at the same arena. Hopefully we'll see you out there. It's going to be an exciting weekend for the Augie hockey team, and we're going to go root them on and hopefully get some revenge on Gustavus.